Hello, it's Dusty Thunder with another story for you here. The title of this one is, My Wife Went Out to Lunch with a Guy She Met at the Gym. I think this is a huge no-no. Am I overreacting? My 39 male wife, 39 female, and I have been together for 14 years, married for 11. I've been cheated on in the past several times, so I'm very sensitive to any behavior that could be construed that way. Not by wife, though, right? He says been cheated on in the past, does not say that wife was the one who did that. My wife goes to the same gym 5 days a week and is always there when they open at 5 a.m. It's a serious thing for her. I personally go 3 days a week, but to a different gym. Needless to say, conversations have been struck up with her by various people for the last 5 years or so. One guy in particular who is divorced and 15 years older started being friendly to her a while back, not sure how long exactly. A conversation arose about a good lunch special at a steakhouse in town, and it became an ongoing thing. You gotta try this pork chop, etc. Well, on Friday afternoon, she went to lunch with this gentleman, and then when she came home, she mentioned that her leftovers were from this place and that she went with a friend. Never said anything about a work friend, so pressed a bit more for curiosity's sake. She told me what happened and swore up and down that nothing happened and she's not interested in that way. I will say our marriage had its up and downs, but the ups were way higher than the downs. My wife has not given me a reason in 14 years not to trust her. However, the circumstances are quite suspect. What does everyone think?
How would you feel if I did this?
How would I feel if you did this? So we have to preface it a little bit because OP came into this relationship being burned and already being highly hyper aware, right? And already drawn to suspicion, not because of his wife, but because of previous relationships. There's the little bit of that, you can't punish the partner you're with for your past. But you also can't deny that that's your past and that you're sensitive in those areas. And I would hope that I would have communicated that with my partner and this would have never happened in the first place. And if it did and she knew I had those predispositions coming in, then it would be crossing a boundary and blatant disregard for how I felt. That's where I would be. It would be a big deal to me. And also, we talk about everything. So if there was something that either of us had intentionally kept from the other until after the fact, I feel like we would know that the other knew it was wrong. There's a reason she didn't tell you until after. Okay, here's the get it. We have had a lengthy discussion about all this. She didn't necessarily hide it from me, and I didn't have to prod her much at all for her to tell me it was a man from the gym. She's known him for 2 years in passing, and they talk occasionally. She has never given me a reason to think that she's cheated. This time just seemed very sus. 2.5-hour lunch.
That's too long.
That would have been useful information, OP. And she apologized a lot for forgetting to tell me that she was going to do this. She's very scatterbrained and forgetful, so it's not out of the ordinary. Anyways, thank you everybody for the rational, sane, helpful advice. Luckily, I did most of that before I saw all of your replies, so I think we are okay now. Thank you again. Did what? What did you do? What did you do before? What? That would make this okay. A 2.5-hour lunch. And if she was apologizing for forgetting to tell you that she was going to do this, then it wasn't a last minute thing. How many days did she know that she was going to do this leading up to it and chose to hide that from you until after the fact? Why? Because she brought frickin' pork chops home. If she hadn't had leftovers, would you have known at all? I think, plot twist, you're the one having leftovers.
Whoa. 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 It's too far.
That was too far?
I don't know.
Felt right. Felt right. You know what I mean? Felt right.
Oh, I think 2.5 hours for a lunch.
2.5 hours for a lunch is too much.
When you're married is too much.
Yes.
I would feel,
and she knew ahead of time and just forgot.
It's also just a lot of conversation.
2.5 hours worth of conversation. Yeah, I mean, there are some people that could just bullshit about anything for 2.5 hours, but still.
I'd be looking at him. I'm getting antsy. I gotta move. My ass is asleep.
My ass is asleep. Yeah. Come on, God, just get up here. I don't have a mic over there yet. It just pains my soul. I need. You don't know what?
Maybe that's her thing. Maybe she. I don't know.
Maybe she likes 2.5-hour lunches.
Could totally just be an innocent 2.5-hour lunch. But I feel like if you're married and you go to lunch for 2.5 hours with a man that your husband does not know, I think that's the key point in this. That I find it disrespectful. Other people may be like, whatever, it's fine. I don't give a totally cool if that's how your relationship runs. But that is not how our relationship would run.
It's not how the individual feels. It's how what are the expectations of the relationship.
Oh, good point, Lisa. Who paid?
Ooh.
Yeah, we don't know that part. I just think that this is take more naps. You should never put yourself in a situation where something could happen or it could be perceived that something happened. I agree 100%. I think you respect your relationship, and I would never do a thing that put my relationship in jeopardy because I respect it and because I love him. And I feel like this is walking a line, and I don't want to walk that line.
If you do, you accept the associated risk, right?
Yeah, and I don't want that risk. Like, I don't want that in my life. So.
Well, and if you were in a relationship with somebody who had been,
Okay.
yeah, totally.
He's hot.
If you
I like
were
him.
if you were in a relationship with someone who had been burned several times previous to your relationship, and you knew they were already sensitive to that, and you're accepting the associated risks, you have to ask yourself why.
Yeah.
You gotta ask.
Yeah, even if it isn't cheating, she isn't trying not to cheat. I don't know. It's just, I think, I don't know. It's too
Around and find out.
It's too gray area for me. I think that's the right thing.
Yeah. Also, every time I see 2.5 hour lunch, am I the only one that automatically sees 2.5 inches?
Yes.
Okay.
Did Jim Bro bring a bottle of Vaseline?
Nausea Commander, yeah. A Jim
That's
Bro,
great.
big bottle of
That's
Vaseline. You know, it was 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Well, it was a big bottle of Vaseline. You know what I mean?
Chapped lips.